Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Azren, the language nerd here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to another video in this series on how to learn another language. Without further ado, let's get started here. I'm excited for today. This is almost certainly going to be the last video in level 4. Hooray! Very exciting. All right, let's get this going here. Oh, what happened? This one. So today we're starting with some news categories, okay? You will notice that there's a certain pattern that will be followed for these news categories. So I think we can get through the content side reasonably quickly. Although when you actually try to learn this content yourself, it will take you some time, I think. It's not going to happen very rapidly per se, but I think I can at least walk you through the steps of what to do pretty quickly. So the first one, the first news category is arts and culture. Or sorry, entertainment, arts, and culture. Okay. And actually, to be honest, I'm going to slightly change this right now. I've primarily focused it on arts and culture. I haven't done too much entertainment, but at the end of the day, it's about the roughly speaking kind of the same, roughly speaking quite similar. So there we go, arts and culture. It's not really that different. I picked these categories as news categories because if you were to take a B2 test, many different languages are the way they organize the test is a lot of the topics on the test are news related topics, politics or education or arts and culture. There's many different news related topics. And that's often what's going to be on the test. That's one of the reasons why I picked some news related topics on this for this level, this B2, this upper intermediate course. Okay, so you're going to book a lesson with your tutor or speaking partner and label the pictures below together. We have culture, art, architecture, design, photography, crafts, drama, poetry, exhibition, performance, multicultural, diversity. Of course, as you go through this unit here, you're going to encounter so many other words that you didn't know and so many other grammar points and different phrases that you just didn't know. So make sure you write those down and make a note of them. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is your reading practice. You're going to read some arts and culture articles. So you're going to find at least 3 arts and culture news articles to read in your target language. Look up any words you don't understand and ask your tutor or language partner for help if need be. So let me show you how I might do this. I'm going to demonstrate this for you here. I'll share a different screen. Okay, there we go. So let's say you're learning whatever, English. You simply search arts and culture news, and you pick any website, whatever website you want. Right? You want to read from The Guardian, want to read from independent.co.uk, want to read Al Jazeera, want to read, I don't know, pick something. Right? Search it in Spanish, search it in French, search it in Mandarin, search it in Japanese, or Arabic, whatever. Off you go, click something and start reading, right? Pick something that interests you. Another activity that might be useful actually, is just to actually see if you can navigate websites in your target language. Like, do you know what world means? Do you know what Canada, local, politics, money, health, entertainment, lifestyle, watch? Do you know what these mean? Like in your target language, of course, might be worth doing too. Okay, let's share my screen back to the Google Slides. Okay, so you're going to do that. You're going to do that for some arts and culture news articles. There's a small typo here. Let's fix it. There we go. Yeah, make sure you look up any words you don't understand. Ask your tutor or language partner for help if you need be. One thing I haven't emphasized enough, but I want to talk about this more, and I might even make a separate video just for this. I think it's important for you to have a vocabulary notebook. I might have said this in the last video. It can be on your phone. It can be like a physical notebook, like this one. And this is where you write down every single new word or short phrase that you learn. And you review those notes every few months. In fact, I did say them in the introduction video, actually. I did say this in the introduction section, but man, it's been a long time since the introduction section, hasn't it? So maybe it's worth a reminder. Write down all the new words, all the new phrases, everything you learn, all the vocabulary you're learning, and review that every couple of months. That's important because once you're at this upper intermediate level, your biggest gap, you might have some grammatical gaps, but ultimately your biggest gap is most likely vocabulary. Most likely. You might have other ones too. Maybe you got some grammar things. Maybe you don't articulate yourself the most grammatically correctly. Like maybe there's other gaps, but often the biggest gap is vocabulary. You're going to watch some arts and culture news videos. So you're going to watch 3+ arts and culture news videos in your target language. YouTube or news websites are the best places to find these. Write down the timestamps where you didn't understand what's being said, and or any new words in the videos for you to look up, or of course, ask your language partner or tutor about. Pretty straightforward. You can find these on news websites, YouTube. There's lots of places you can find these. Simply search on YouTube, arts and culture news, and you'll find lots of different videos. You can, of course, search something very specific if you want to. Maybe there's a specific, what's the word I'm looking for? Topic within arts and culture that you're really interested in. So you might search something specific to that, of course. The world is your oyster in this case. All right, now for the writing practice, and it's the same writing activity and as the rest of this whole program. You're going to write a 250+ word critical response to one of the articles that you read. You can use these 4 questions to guide your writing, and then just make sure you get your writing corrected by your language partner or tutor. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time, talking about what are the requirements of a critical response essay. What does that look like? What is that? That I'm going to focus more on a bit later. Initially, I was planning on talking about some academic writing in this level 4 course, but I'm going to change that. In the intro of level 4, I talked about one of the units, one of the activities I mentioned was, I believe it was an intro to academic writing or something like that. I can't remember what I called it, but I've decided that I think there's enough content here, and that's not something I want to focus on now. I'm probably going to go more into that until when we hit level 5. So moving towards that C1. So for now, write the most well-articulated 250+ word critical response, kind of like a short essay about what you read. Summarize it. So what's the article about? What are the main ideas? Do you agree with what the writer wrote? Explain yourself, right? How did the article make you feel? Do you have a counter proposition in comparison to what the person wrote? Maybe the person said, oh, the city's building a new theater in whatever, in the northeast of the city. And the journalist was really excited, but maybe you think that's not a good idea because they should be spending their money more on the sciences or on infrastructure or something different. So you might actually put a counter proposal into your little essay. As much detail as you can. A little bit longer is probably a little bit better, probably, but do what you can. I'm not going to put too many constraints on this in this level 4, this kind of B2 course, but into C1, I will give you some more challenging, some more constraints, and go deeper into this because it is quite important when you get to those really advanced levels. Okay, we got a discussion for your speaking practice. So you'll book a time with your tutor or speaking partner and discuss at least one of the articles you read and or videos you watched in this unit. So here's some questions you may use to guide your discussion. What articles did you read? What videos did you watch? What were these videos and articles about? How do you feel about what you read and watched? How do you feel about the perspective of the people in the videos or the writers of the articles? Maybe some other questions. You can definitely use these to have a discussion with your language partner or tutor. And that takes us to the end of this unit here. Now, you're going to notice a similar structure to the rest of these news categories. It's the same pattern. So I'll zip through these reasonably quickly. Next one is sports. To be fair, if you were to go take a B2 exam, the sports category is probably not going to be on there. I put it here because people talk about sports, I find, and it's something that comes up in many day-to-day conversations, depending on what kind of circle you're in. And I know me, like, I'm not a big sports guy, not really, but man, the number of times I've been in a conversation in another language with a real native speaker, and then some sports topic comes up and I'm like lost for words. Not because I have nothing to say, but because I just don't know very, very basic sports vocabulary. That's happened to me too many times that I can count. So I've decided to put a little sports section in here. Feel free to skip it if you're really not into sports and you never talk about sports. Feel free to skip it and go to something else. But I think it's good to have at least some kind of basis around it. Okay. So here's the vocabulary. We have the word for sport. We have score. You could use score as a verb or a noun, to be honest. You could pick or do both. To win, to lose, to tie, to pass, as in pass a ball, for example, to shoot, to save, like save the ball, right? There's way more than this. These are not your only words for sports. Oops, what happened there? There we go. But this is just a short list to get you started. Okay, you're going to read some sports articles. So you'll find at least 3 sports articles to read in your target language. Maybe there's an important soccer game or something like that. You can read someone's coverage of it, someone's article about it. Maybe you read something about, I just watched something on the news recently. I was on my grandparents' house and who's that soccer player? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's that soccer player. He's like the best soccer player in the world, arguably. Messi, is that his name? I think it is. I don't watch it. Whatever. He's switching teams now. He's been let go, or rather, he's a free agent, and he's like probably in soccer's history, he's I think the most sought after free agent, or arguably. It's like that was like something I watched on the news passively. So maybe you read an article about that. You probably will encounter a lot of words you don't understand. And so you're going to have to ask your tutor or language partner for help. You probably will need the help. One of my private students during the Olympics was reading some articles about swimming because she likes to swim. And there's so many things she didn't know, like the different strokes and the different competition names and so much technical vocabulary she just didn't know. And it's funny, she's asking me, and even me, sometimes I was like, I actually don't know what that is. Like, what is that? So even I had to look stuff up. Okay, so now you're gonna watch some sports news videos. So you'll watch 3+ sports news videos in your target language. As always, you can look on YouTube or any news websites. That's some good places to find them. Don't forget to write down any new words and phrases that you learned or things you didn't quite understand, and then ask for help or look them up. Oops, there's a little typo here. Let's get rid of that typo. Let's make it no writing practice. There we go. There's no writing practice for this unit here, so you can skip over the writing section, nothing for the sports. I can give you one right now if there's something you really want to do. Maybe you could, if you're super into sports, maybe you could watch a soccer match or something like that, volleyball or whatever you're into. And then you can write your own like summary of the match, some of the highlights, the lowlights, who won, what does that mean for the players? Maybe you can write something like that if you're into sports, but if not, feel free to skip this. We have a discussion. So you're going to book a time with your tutor or speaking partner and discuss the following questions. So what's your favorite sport and or favorite team? Do you prefer playing sports or watching them? What sports did you play as a child? Did you enjoy that experience? Are there any sports you'd like to start playing in the near future? Do you have a favorite athlete? If yes, who are they and why do you like them so much? Some other questions. Some people are so into sports, you can get super deep into these discussions and get lots of good practice out of this. And that's our sports unit. As I said, we're moving fast today because it's kind of a certain pattern, which hopefully you've started to notice. Just make sure you take your time to actually get through this content and take your time in each of these units, because these are not easy tasks I'm giving. These are not easy tasks I'm giving you. And when you're getting to that B2 level, I mean, you're starting to get to some really high levels here. So it's not meant to be easy. Our next category is business, finances, and economics. I'm going to call it business finance and not finances, actually. Let's call it finance. There we go. Business, finance, and economics. So here's our vocabulary. We have business, finance, stock market, budget, profit, sales, revenue, debt, entrepreneur, and growth. As always, when you're going through these different activities, you're going to come across a lot more words you don't know. So make sure you write them down as you go and review them every couple of months. Okay. You can probably see the pattern here. You're going to read some business articles, business news articles specifically, at least 3 of them. You're going to look any words up you don't understand and ask your tutor or language partner for help when needed. Want to guess the next page? Yes, you're going to watch some videos. Congratulations. Watch 3+ business news videos in your target language. You're going to watch those, write down words you don't know, look anything up you didn't understand, ask your tutor or your language partner for help when needed. Want to guess the next page? If you noticed a pattern, you're going to know what it is. Write an essay. You're going to write a 250 word or more essay in response to something you read, one of the articles. What was it about? Summarize it. What was the main idea? Do you agree with the perspective? How did it make you feel? Do you have any counter propositions, etc.? You'll have a discussion. Same discussion as kind of every time. What did you read? What videos did you watch? What were they about? How did you feel about them? How do you feel about the perspectives? Right? Do you have other questions, other things you want to talk about, those that are relevant? And that takes us to the end of this unit. Last one, health and medicine. Some of this is going to be a little bit of review because we had the visiting the doctor unit earlier, but we're approaching it from a slightly different lens this time around. For vocabulary, we have health, medicine, diet, carbohydrates, fats, protein, vitamins, nutrition, hospital, doctor, nurse, surgery, obesity. I just watched a video about how obesity, what's going on with obesity in the world right now. Apparently it's severely on the rise, which I suppose I knew, I just hadn't thought about it in a long time. So that's why that's in here. I've been thinking about it recently. Vaccine, which is a hot topic right now, of course, with COVID and all of that. Depending on when you're watching this, of course, as I'm recording it, we're still kind of in COVID, so it is a hot topic. Okay, as always, you're going to read some health-related news articles. So you'll find at least 3. You're going to read them, just like we've been doing in the previous units in this part of level 4. You'll watch some health news videos, at least 3 of them. Right? Write down your new words, write down any timestamps if you didn't understand what they're saying. Ask your language partner or tutor for help when needed. Take your time, by the way, when you're going through these. Take your time. These are not easy tasks I'm giving you. You're going to write your little essay as always. Same. I copy pasted this page, so same essay as always. Same discussion. I've copy pasted this page, so same discussion. Nothing new here. And that takes us to the end. Now, there's actually a couple more. We have politics. Okay, another news category. This doesn't look centered to me. Let's fix that. I think it's not centered. There we go. Is that centered? There we go. That's better. Okay. As you notice, there's no vocabulary section. The reason there's no vocabulary section is because so in my vocab section, there's all these pictures, right? But when I had my vocabulary for the section, I couldn't find any good pictures. Like when I looked for any non attribution, no royalties required, I can use them for commercial use, things like that. When I was looking for them, some of the pictures were kind of offensive, or they didn't quite match the word. Like I found one, I was looking for pictures for dictatorship was one. And I was like, and the pictures that were coming up were not appropriate pictures. Some of them were very offensive or politically charged. And I was like, oh God. All right, let's just cut the vocab section out. I'll put the homework on you. Make a list of 20 words that politically related to get yourself started, or 10 to 20 words to kind of get the brain going. Go learn how to say them, and then move on to this reading practice. You're going to find at least 3 political news articles to read in your target language, just like before. You can guess the next page most likely. Political news videos, 3 or more. You're going to write your little essay as always. You're going to get it corrected. You're going to have your discussion as always. And that takes us to the end. Now, this here is our most important page. Okay, so I have a page here called Choose Your Own Topics. And of course, I've written at the bottom here, please watch the accompanying video for this unit for further instructions. So this is the accompanying video. This is in my opinion, probably the most important page in this entire unit, because I'm going to stop my screen share. So how do I say this? The more advanced you get in another language, the more important it is for you to start guiding your own studies. You see, in the beginner stages, you can often find curriculums, mobile apps, programs, textbooks, classes, courses, tutors, so many things, audio programs, YouTube videos, and people have dictated in a way what you have to learn. They say you have to learn your greetings. And in your mind, you go, well, yeah, that's obvious. Of course I have to learn my greetings. The things you have to learn are sort of pre-dictated in those early beginner phases, even in the intermediate phases, because as human beings, we all sort of talk about the same things, or rather similar enough, regardless of what the language is. And we all have to know greetings, regardless of the language. We all have to be able to introduce ourselves. We all have to know some basic grammar to form simple sentences. We all have to know our colors. There's certain things we all have to know. But once you sort of know the basic things that everyone sort of knows, aka, not even everyone sort of knows, but you sort of hit this level where you can converse reasonably comfortably. You understand most of what people are saying. Once you're at that point, it becomes more and more important for you to start to self-dictate where you go. Are you going to learn more about sports? Maybe you like sports, you dive headfirst into sports. Maybe you like language, so you really dive headfirst into language-related topics. Because even as adults, there are things that I only have a very surface level of knowledge about. I don't know a lot about cars, for example. So for me to talk about cars and have a real conversation with someone about cars in English, if they know anything about cars, I mean, I'm not really going to be saying much. Most of what I'll be saying is, oh, what does that word mean? The pistons are doing what? What's a piston? What does that mean? The clutch is what? So wait, what happened to the clutch? I know what a clutch is, but what happened? Huh? The high pressure fuel pump is blah, blah, blah. Your knock sensor doesn't work. My what? What's a knock sensor? Huh? Your brakes are at blah, blah, blah. Your tire pressure's at this. Okay, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Right? So, but there's other topics that I can talk about in depth, like language or things like that, that the other people can't really do. So when you start to get more advanced, you can start to pick and choose your topics to really go deeper into. So one of the things I've now put into here, if I share my screen one more time, is to start choosing at least one of your own topics, but maybe even more, where you start to actually choose your own topics and actually create a self-study curriculum for yourself. So what I want you to do here is I want you to follow a similar structure as that my program uses. I want you to first pick a topic. Maybe you're super into health and you're like, you know what? I want to go deeper into health, or I want to go specifically into exercise, working out. Maybe that's something that you're super into. So you're going to make a vocab list for yourself. What words would I need to know about about exercise? And fitness. Make a list. Go look up the words. Then you're gonna do some reading practice. You're like, okay, what can I read in the target language about fitness and exercise? What would I have to Google to make that happen? What can I read? You're gonna pick that yourself. You're gonna find some videos. Okay, what kind of videos can I watch on this topic? Remember, you write down all the timestamps where you don't understand, write down the words you don't understand, ask your tutor, ask your language partner. At this point in the course, if you've been following up to level 4, I hope you've developed a skill on how to learn language. That's the goal here. I want you to start developing the skill on how to learn a language, not just listen to me all the time. Develop some of that skill, right? That's the whole goal here. Right? You're gonna write something. Ask yourself, what can I write about fitness? What kind of things can I write? Is it an essay? Do I write a meal plan for myself? What can I write that's related to the topic? Right? You pick some discussion questions. How can I discuss this with my tutor or my language partner? What can I do about this? Okay. And so you're going to do that at least for one other topic, at least for one, but multiple is probably a good idea. Okay, because it's time for you to start specializing a little bit. Now, in level 5, level 6, when you go further along, you're going to tell that you're going to see that, how do I say this? I'll say it like this. You might specialize in a few topics, but, even though you have this upper intermediate level, one of the biggest differences between someone who's super advanced, and we'll talk more about this in level 5 and 6, one of the biggest differences too between someone who's super advanced in a language and someone who's, upper intermediate or just strong or just fluent versus very proficient is that very advanced speakers of another language, they have a high, they know hundreds, if not more like thousands. They know thousands of low frequency words and low frequency phrases. What does that mean? There are things that we never say, but we all know what they mean. There are things that we say, or we rarely say, not never. There are things we rarely say, but everybody knows what they mean. Like, what's a good example? Let's look around me here. Like, here's a word. Like, I have a Lego cape. These are capes, like the cape you wear on your back. When the heck do we ever say cape? We never talk about capes. Never. But everyone knows what a cape is. So the difference between someone who's very advanced and someone who's kind of upper intermediate is the very advanced people know lots of low frequency words that are used once a year or once every few years by people or whatever it is. And that's the big difference. So what that means is if you're upper intermediate and you're talking to someone might use a word and you're like, what does that mean? And they say, oh, it's cape. And they explain cape. You're like, oh, okay. And you're like, why don't I ever have to use cape? Do I have to learn that word? No. Well, the problem is to get from upper intermediate to very, very advanced, not the problem, but the challenge becomes now the game is for you to go learn lots of low frequency words and phrases and some higher frequency ones too. Don't get me wrong, but there are some low frequency words you just need to go learn. And you have to have them in your head, even though you're not going to use them ever. Right? So this choosing your own topics becomes very important when you start to get more advanced, because you got to start thinking about, okay, what do I not know about? What don't I know anything about that I need to now go and fill the gap, right? You have to ask yourself that question, and less, I can't really help you with that. I mean, there's a lot that we'll do in level 5 and 6, and I'll really help the best I can, but you're going to have to pick your own topics. I'm telling you. Okay. Hooray, you are done level 4. Congratulations. Now it's time for you to do a comprehensive review. So you're going to go back through all your notes, reread everything, quiz yourself on the contents, skip things you know very well, revisit the things that you skipped or that you're like, oh, I don't really know this well. Go back and do that again. This will take you a long time for level 4, most likely, because you might look at things in level 3 even, you're like, oh, I forgot about that. I need to go back and like dig further into that. It's a big step. Really having a level 4 mastered, like a B2 mastered, is like a big, big step. So this is no simple feat. There's one last page in this book. I just want to show you. It's going to be deleted for those who purchased the actual book, but I'm showing you. I initially planned on talking about weather, but I've decided to cut it out. I'm like, actually, no, I don't want to put that in. There's already a lot in here. Let's scratch weather for now. Let's scratch it. I was going to put things like high pressure front, low pressure front, heat waves, and blizzards. And I was like, actually, wait a second. Let's not make it that difficult. So, okay. Congratulations. You made it to the end of level 4. I will see you in the next video. I appreciate all your attention as always. I hope this has been useful for you. And yeah, we'll talk very, very soon. Bye-bye. Let me stop this recording.